Yeah, no, I'm so happy. I mean, getting to 60 points is such an amazing feat, and I don't think anything takes away from that, 3 points is 3 points, but I'm upset that we conceded 2 goals the way that we did, and there's definitely some things to tighten up on, but overall, I'm just so incredibly proud of our team, and that points-wise, we're the best team to have played in this league, and I'm really proud of that.
Awesome.
Kerry, I just going off of kind of your feeling. Obviously, you get on the score sheet finally this year.
Finally.
Just kind of walk me through what you saw on the goal and just the reaction after.
Yeah, I was just trying to get in there. The cross is coming in, and we've talked a lot about gambling in the box, having movement in the box, more numbers. And I don't always get up in there playing left back. I kind of got to cover some ground first. But I was in there, and I just wanted to get across my defender, and the ball popped out for me and found its way into the back of the net. So it was a very Bello goal. That's what I've been telling people. I'm not surprised that that's how I scored my first goal of the season. Better late than never.
Talked a couple days ago about expecting a very intense match with Seattle, and they were pressing you high and really trying to force the issue in the back line, making you guys uncomfortable with the possession that you usually like to have.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of how did you play through that press that they had and try and deal with the numbers they sent at the ball every time in the back line?
Yeah, I think at one point we realized that we needed to go in behind a few times. We needed to test their center backs. I don't think we did it enough in the first half. We have Barbara Banda up top. Like, why are we not going in behind more? So I think sending a few balls over the top of them and kind of keeping them accountable to that space in behind helped relieve some pressure on the other side of the ball. And then later in the game, we were able to sustain more possession kind of in their half. But they definitely gave us some problems.
I'm going to go to the Zoom really quick, go to Sandra Herrera.
Thanks so much. Congratulations on an incredible season. 60 points in one season is just like another record for this team, and kind of wild to think about. And in line with that, I know in conversations with coaches and players, there's always a discussion of what's available, what are the goals in front of you for a season, whether it's the amount of titles that are on the line and things like that. But the concept of like breaking constant records in a season isn't something that I've often heard of come out of the mouths of coaches and players in preseason. It's typically about the gold and the titles. So was there a particular moment in this season where it pushed beyond chasing championships for you all? Like when you had a moment where you're like, we can actually keep making history throughout this season?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it was ever about making history and about breaking records. We were never chasing the records. I think we were so focused on the daily grind and being consistent with the details every single game, focusing on one game at a time, and then the records just came. And that's just a credit to all of the work we put in. I think, though, there was a moment where we realized how good we were, and it wasn't a game we played well. It was when we beat Kansas City halfway through the season in their stadium, and that was just the most gritty win we had. And I think the most successful teams have to win games even when they don't play well, even when they're down a man for more than a half. And coming out of that game with 3 points, I think, was a moment that we all kind of looked at each other and we were like, this team's got something special.
Yeah, for sure. And just to follow, speaking on like shifting gears, I know in pre-match availability, maybe there was the mindset of how a game like this could possibly be kind of like a shift or a recheck for momentum for you all heading into the playoffs. You're mentioning going up against Kansas City mid-season, but going into these playoffs, it's always a different beast. It's sort of like doesn't really matter what happened against whomever, whether they were a number one team like yourselves or a bottom table team.
Mm-hmm.
How crucial was it to sort of make sure that this team hit the gas before getting into the postseason?
Yeah, it was so important. Momentum is such a huge thing in our sport, and we don't take that lightly. So I think that was a big motivator for this game as well. And kind of like you said, now we're going into playoffs. Every game is anyone's game, and it truly is, we got to go 1-0 on the day. And so while that was in the back of our minds, I stand by what I said in my pregame presser that we wanted to treat this game like every other game this season and just get back to our identity and who we were and focus on getting 3 points out of this game. And I'm glad we did that.
Thanks so much.
Go to Javier.
Congratulations for today's match and victory. Abello, your age is 25. You score your first goal at minute 25, and your jersey is 25.
Wow, I didn't know that. It was meant to be.
Yeah. How you feel going to the playoff, and also are we gonna see you next season playing for Orlando?
Yeah. I feel great going into the playoffs. I think it was big that we got a win tonight. And, while we have some things to tighten up in the back and not concede, I was really happy with the chances we created. Even though we only had 3 on the scoreboard, we created way more, a few called offsides. So I'm really optimistic about that. And I'm so excited to play my first NWSL playoff game. We were so close last year, and I, among my teammates, was heartbroken at the end of last season. So I'm really excited for this first playoff game. What was the second question you asked me? Absolutely. I'm signed and I'll be here, and I'm excited to be back, but still unfinished business this season.
Go back to Allison.
Kerry, you kind of just talked about, the positives, but also just some of the things to work on. The 2 goals that they scored, one coming right off of the goal that Ali scored, and the second one just off a header in the box. Can you kind of talk about what you saw on those plays that kind of led to the goals?
Yeah. I think on the first goal, it's a classic kind of what we talk about, the big 5 moments. And the 5 minutes after a goal is scored is when both teams are most susceptible to be scored on again. And so I think we switched off for a second. They're a really aerial dominant team. And we lost the first aerial battle, and they got in behind us. And then we were scrambling in the box. So that's definitely something to tighten up, and we need to stay locked in those moments. And then on the second goal, it came off a throw-in. So you can always look at what happened in the box, but I think we need to stop that service at the start of it, at the throw-in. So definitely some things to tighten up in the back going into playoffs.